Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of CampusCare EdTalks. EdTalks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. A topic for the discussion is should mother tongue be the medium of instruction or education in schools? And to express their viewpoints on the same, we have with us Mr. Sachin Batra sir, Principal of Tejas International Residential School. A very warm welcome, sir.
Very good evening, ma'am, and thank you.
And Mrs. Jyoti Chaurasia, ma'am, principal of the WIT School, Indore. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mehak,
Thank
and
you
good
so much.
evening to everyone.
Good evening, ma'am. A very good evening. And thank you so much, ma'am and sir, for taking out your precious time.
You're welcome, Mehak.
So, shall we begin off with the session now?
Absolutely.
All right. Over to you, Sachin sir. Learning about our culture and other subjects in foreign languages that can, lead to confusion and lack of clarity among students. So, do you agree with the statements and what are your opinions on the same?
Uh, yeah, Mehak, see, you mentioned that learning about our culture and other subjects in the foreign languages. So I do absolutely agree because what I believe that language is very important. When it comes actually to the culture, it becomes even more important because language is a bridge and that bridge is very much needed. This connects us to the literature and literature is the gateway to our culture. How the culture, once we think that the culture, it flows from one generation to the coming generations. So we need to have, it is like whatever our forefathers they have learned, they have written in various kind of the transcripts and all. So we need a language, and language connects us to the culture. So according to me, the regional language or a mother tongue is very very important because once we are getting connected with our culture, then only we become a good society. Though I do also say that there are translations available, so for everything can be translated into other languages, but somehow I personally believe that that connect is missing. Suppose Ayurveda is our very ancient science, yoga is our very ancient science, but once it is getting transferred into any of the global language, so we start, even we don't pronunciate it properly, Ayurveda becomes Ayurveda, yoga becomes yoga, Ram becomes Rama, Ravan becomes Ravana. So that how we can get the things to understand. But what I feel that connect is missing, that feelings are missing. So the mere words, they can just translate the content, but the emotions which are involved and the feelings which are involved behind that particular transcript, so they are missing once we translate to a global language. So according to me, I am very much agree with the fact that the mother tongue, if we translate it to any other language, then it certainly creates confusions.
I
Thank you.
totally agree with you, Batra sir, because if we see that mother tongue is what you can say, it's a native language, and it is the language in which the child grows up speaking. It is the language in which the child communicates for the first time. So if one thinks in it, one dreams in it, one does all activities which require communication in the mother tongue, it is like, if you ask, if a child is asked to connect to his or her own culture using a foreign language, that absolutely is true what you said, connect is missing.
Yeah.
It cannot be, there's a sense of alienation. You don't feel that it is your own culture. So, if we want to get a better feel of our cultural background, the child needs to be taught in the mother tongue. That is very important. We need to value our mother tongue also, because the moment we start using foreign languages, something like English, which is valued a lot in our country, children tend to forget the importance of our own mother tongue. And then, as NEP states, I would like to quote from it that it not only is improving the child's learning outcomes, it instills the knowledge of India. This is considered critical for the purposes of national pride, self confidence, self knowledge, cooperation, as well as integration. So, I think it is very important if we need to use mother tongue in building up our culture and heritage.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am, for adding on. Thank you so much, Sachin sir. So moving on to Jyoti ma'am. So ma'am, according to a survey, children learning through their mother tongue can, outperform children having a foreign language as the medium of instruction or education. So do you think teachers should impart lessons in their mother tongue and not in some foreign languages?
As I just said, that mother tongue is the language in which the child is exposed to in the early year, absolutely from the very beginning. So, any kind of communication that a child does using mother tongue is absolutely, totally understandable to the child as well as engaging for him. So, when the child enters school, he's entering into a structured learning environment. The structured learning environment would require a lot of adjustment from the child's perspective. The child needs to adapt to so many things, and that creates a lot of stress on the child. And now you imagine the child is going to school, and a foreign language is introduced to a child. The child needs to learn concepts in the foreign language. That is like, you are putting another burden on the child, where he's still struggling to adjust to so many new things that are happening in his life. So obviously the child would, flounder around. The child would not understand what I should do, whether learn the concepts in the language or use my mother tongue to express my opinion. The child is totally confused. So if we go back to instructing in the mother tongue, the child would definitely learn the concepts better. Literacy, numeracy in the early ages would become better, as well as we have so a huge percentage of parents are from the villages, from the rural areas. In those areas foreign language is not taught. So if the child is instructed in the mother tongue, the parents would also get involved in the education of their children. And if that happens, the school as well as the home, they build a strong bond. And we know, as educators, we know that without parental support, the child's education remains incomplete. And then I would also like to quote Dr. Dheer Jingran. He is the former IAS officer, and he is the founder and director of Language and Learning Foundation. LLF has been working with state governments of Chhattisgarh, Haryana, then Rajasthan. They create study materials in their local or regional languages, and they also train teachers to use it. So I would like to quote what he says, that you can learn to read and write best in the language that you know. If you are taught in the language you don't understand, then comprehension doesn't occur and results in rote memorization and writing it out through copying. Good learning will happen only when the children have high self esteem. They are well adjusted in the classroom that provides a positive and fearless environment. So, if a child is taught in a language they do not understand, none of this will happen. It's very important that we need to teach the children in their mother tongue if we want to improve the learning outcome.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Jyoti ma'am. That was really informative. Sachin sir, what do you think are the advantages of teaching the students in mother tongue, sir?
Mahek, I am perfectly in agreement with whatever just now Jyoti ma'am has said. Though she has spoken most of the things over this particular question, but still I want to add on something. See, there are two things which are an outcome of a scientific research or a survey, and the another side what we believe. So beliefs may be very specific and may vary from person to person, but we cannot challenge the outcome, which is an outcome of a scientific research. As you have already quoted in your question, that this is a survey which is done by Oxford University, and they found that children who are learning in their mother tongue, they are outperforming the children who are learning in foreign language. Just to add a bit humor, I just recall a story. There was a man and who went to a king's court, and he challenged the king you find out which is my mother tongue. So king asked him to speak in any particular language. He spoke very well. Then other courtiers also, they asked him to speak in some other language, and he spoke very well without any flaw in any of the language. But in fact, what happened? So king was also confused, and no one could, uh, uh, find out what is the mother tongue of a person. Then one courtier, he advised or he suggested the king, and they have just made a plan. So king asked this particular man, come to my court tomorrow morning 10 a.m. And as soon as this man he entered the king's court, someone from behind the door, he just banged him very badly. And this person, he started shouting or screaming in his mother tongue.
Yeah.
So this is something, what is the importance of the mother tongue, I say. So we can be very artificial, we can be very cautious when we are using some foreign languages. But ultimately, when it comes to the emotions, once it comes to the connects and the feelings, so there is nothing which can replace the mother tongue. So this is what I believe in. Certainly, children in the mother tongue, they perform much better. But a little add on to this, I also think that mother tongue is, since they are, they are having less approach to the contents, less access to the contents. So certainly along with mother tongue, we need to have or we need to learn a global language. Actually, it increases our access to the content which are not available, because everything cannot be translated into our mother tongue. So there are many resources, many researches which are available in many other languages. And since English being a global language, most of the contents are available even in English transcript. So we should also give importance and learn a global language so our thought process expands.
Yeah.
So this is my view on this topic.
Thank you so much, Sachin sir. Jyoti ma'am, would you like to add something to it? What do you think are the advantages of learning in your mother tongue?
Again, here I will begin with stating one statistics over here, that it was found in 2019 that in rural India, only 16.2% of the children who were enrolled in grade 1 were able to read the text which was of their level. This is, I am only talking of language, that is literacy. They were not even able to add one digit numbers orally. This is what happens when a child is not able to connect to what is being taught to them. So using a foreign language to talk to the child while instructing, and the child doesn't understand, there is no point in teaching the child. So if we really want that our literacy and numeracy should improve, then we need to think on ways, we need to think and plan on ways how to implement using the mother tongue in the classrooms. If the child is not able to read and write properly in the early schooling years, this is the time this opens the gateways for further learning. So if the child is not able to read and write at this point of time, then further on the child loses interest in studies. And then of course, the when the mother tongue is being used, the child becomes more creative, because the child is able to think and express himself better in his mother tongue. The child is classroom participation, it is active. The classrooms are not silent, it is not only the teacher speaking, the children also participate equally while discussions are going on. And then ultimately what we see, especially that is happening in Madhya Pradesh, we see that there is a lot of dropouts from the school,
Yes.
because the children are not interested in studying. So if the medium of instruction becomes the mother tongue, dropouts will decrease. Presently the government has come on with schemes like midday meals and Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, and so many things are there. So children are attending the schools for because of these schemes. But if we see that, as far as education is concerned, how many children, especially from the rural background, how many go to school to learn? Very few. So if we make it the medium of instruction, if it is changed to mother tongue, they will feel that connect. The connect is the most important thing.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. Moving on to the next question, ma'am. Do you think there are any disadvantages also?
Disadvantages there, I would say what Sachin sir just now said, that the content availability, that is not there in mother tongue. It may be translated, but the feel of the you know exactly, you can't say that everything is available in the mother tongue. Early schooling years, it is definitely a good plan to have the medium of instruction as the mother tongue. Actually, if you see, Kothari Commission has also suggested this, though it was only for the rural areas and the tribal areas. Rather, Article 350A also has recommended using mother tongue as the medium of instruction. The disadvantages mainly are the, you can't say disadvantages, it would be the challenges that a person faces while the implementation, if you take into consideration the implementation. Then if you see that NEP this time has not actually given a very clear roadmap to the schools on how this has to be implemented in the school. Then again, the non-availability of the teaching learning materials, the teachers who are trained, all these things are a huge challenge. If we are able to overcome all these things, then I'm definite there won't be any disadvantages as the medium of instruction being the mother tongue.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. That was a really wonderful brief by you. Moving on to the next one. Mr. Sachin sir, do you consider the idea of bilingual language as a better approach, or should we just, continue with mother tongue as the medium of instruction in the schools only?
Yeah, Mehak, good for raising this question, but I will just mix the answer of this question and something I would like to add on
Yes.
over the disadvantages of mother tongue. See, bilingual is very important because we personally have seen in our lives, even in examinations and even when children they go to these schools. So once a question has been put to them in any of the foreign language, child is not able to answer. But when a parent, they pat them nicely with love and care and ask the similar question in the mother tongue, child answers the similar question.
Yes, sir.
So it is it's a big thought. We need to understand whether he was not able to answer because of his not having knowledge, or he is not answering because he is not very familiar and comfortable with that particular language. So the mother tongue, it makes everything more professional, more official, and it expands the gaps, especially in the early childhood I am talking.
Yes, sir.
So this is something where I feel that bilingual is very, very important. And because mother tongue is certainly having a lot of challenges with it. Let us talk about once we are, getting more global everywhere, right? We are working, we are traveling more. So there are workplaces which are cosmopolitan. Even now, the schools staff rooms are also which are cosmopolitan. Now, suppose I want to bring someone very good teacher from one particular state, and he is a very good teacher of science, but that particular teacher may not know the mother tongue of the state where they are going to work. So these are some of the challenges, that who will decide the language of medium, which language. There are also the challenges when the children are coming from the multicultural families, so which would be the mother tongue of the child. As Jyoti ma'am has already added on, that there is certainly a limitation of content, but I feel that mother tongues also has a lot of challenges. Any of the regional language or mother tongue, lot of challenges which can only be overcome by using a global language. So this is according to me, a few challenges will be there, and these challenges will certainly have effects on our learning, and the outcomes will be seen in the years. So I feel that till early childhood, or by the time a teacher feels that all the children are capable enough to take the instructions or receive the instructions in the global language, till that extent, I feel mother tongue is good enough to be a medium of instructions. But at the same time, we cannot also deny the importance of a global language.
Thank you so much, Sachin sir. Jyoti ma'am, would you like to add something to it?
Definitely, I totally actually agree with Sachin sir saying this thing. Mehak, actually, our brains are wired to be multilingual. And if you see that none of us are restricted to just one language in our lives, we do learn multiple languages. Some people learn just two languages. There are some people who learn multiple languages. And learning languages also makes us more creative, actually. So if we go by a bilingual language being a better approach than just having the mother tongue, that would definitely help us in the long run, because mother tongue would act as the base or the foundation on which the child begins to study. Okay. And then later on, as the child grows older, even in the primary stage, we can introduce a foreign language which the child can learn better then, because already the foundation of the mother tongue is there, so the child is able to understand a lot many things which are being taught in the school. And then when the foreign language is introduced, a global language, then the child is able to catch on very quickly. This, actually, you will see this approach has already been applied in only one state in India, actually. If you see, it's only there in Odisha, and that too, it is only there in the tribal areas in that state. The government had introduced a program which was for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The children from in these areas, they were taught in their local or the regional language. And then when the children were promoted to the level of grade 2, then it was the Uriya language was introduced to them, and English was introduced to them when they went to grade 3. When they passed out of the primary classes, the tribal languages were continued to be taught as subjects, and the government has received very good response from these areas. So we see, if we go for a bilingual language approach, or rather a multilingual language approach, it is always better. Content availability is more, then the children are able to connect to the studies in a better manner, and of course that would impact the learning outcomes in a positive manner, in, in a huge way.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. That was a very brief explain by you. Thank you so much, Sachin sir, and thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. That was a very informative session with you. It was so great to have you
Thank you
here.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mehak.
Thank you
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
so much,
Sachin.
sir and ma'am, for taking out your precious time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
ma'am,
much.
and you're welcome.
Okay.
And for all
Okay.
the viewers watching us out, please subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am and sir. Have a good day.
Okay.
Thank you.